I were the positive psychology practitioner working with Formula One driver Lando Norris, these are the 3 mindset tools I would give him immediately. Hi everyone, welcome back to Her Happy Mind, where I'm using my master's in positive psychology to teach you that happiness isn't luck. It's science, and on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about F1. And it's not because, I picked Lando Norris because he's not talented. He's one of the most talented drivers in the world right now. But why I'm talking about him is because even elite performers can struggle with something incredibly human, and that is rumination. And so I just started the new season of Drive to Survive. It's on its season 7, where you see moments where Lando openly talks about how hard it is to get out of that negative spiral, often after a mistake, a race, a bad position that he got, a bad pole, and that one bad lap, that one missed opportunity. That mind starts replaying it over and over again. What fascinates me the most is that this isn't just an F1 problem. It's a human brain problem. And you guys know how much I love neuroscience and just understanding why our brains are trained to be more negative. And, the same mental patterns affecting someone racing at 300 kilometers per hour can affect someone going into a meeting, writing an exam, or trying to balance work and family. All these can be, same, but different. So that's why today I want to talk more about sports psychology. I geek out on that stuff. I want to narrow into rumination and what we can learn about elite athletes like Lando Norris. And I love sports documentaries, whether it's the F1, the golf one is so good. I haven't watched the tennis, but let me know if I should. I'm just not really a big tennis person. Obsessed over the Olympics that happened in Italy this year. So I just love watching people who have trained their bodies to the absolute limit. But what ultimately separates the good from the great is the mind, which is even crazier, because you can be as physically fit as possible, but it's not always about being at that elite level where you can be physically capable. It's also about your mental strength. And the difference becomes more, your focus, your emotional regulations, like how quickly you can get back from it, confidence, and the ability to recover from mistakes. Instead of for 5 minutes, maybe it now takes you 5 seconds. And my rabbit actually has the zoomies right now, so I apologize. He's running his own F1 race. And F1 might not be one of the most mentally demanding sports in the world, right? Compared to maybe other sports, but drivers are making decisions in milliseconds, where handling extreme risk and pressure and expectations from fans, team, media. I've noticed on Drive to Survive just how intense the media is and how much has gotten over the seasons with the popularity of the sport. And when a driver like Lando Norris talks openly about their struggles with negative thoughts, rumination, it's actually incredible how honest he is and incredibly relatable he is, because he might not understand that this is actually a normal human emotion and problem that we all face, but he's just facing it on a bigger scale because he has cameras and media all around him all the time. And so rumination is when the mind gets stuck replaying a negative thought or event. So instead of learning from the moment and moving forward from it, the brain actually just loops it. It's just on replay over and over and over. You're just watching that highlight reel over and over and over again. And so psychologists sometimes call it the mental replay button, right? So I'm old enough to know what a VHS is when you press the rewind button. But you might recognize it as we're playing a mistake in a conversation. It could be rethinking about something you should have said, or maybe you should have not said. And it could look like worrying about something that might go wrong, when we always think about the worst case scenario, but a lot of us forget about what about the best case scenario? And this is the most important part. Our brains are actually wired to do this. I have quite a few episodes on how our brain is trained to be negative, and rumination and spiraling is also a part of that. So from an evolutionary perspective, the brain pays more attention to problems and threats than positive experiences. This is what psychologists call the negative bias, and it's because our brains were designed to keep us alive rather just have these fun, joyful moments. But in high performance environments like F1, rumination can become increasingly costly, because when the mind is stuck in the past, it can't fully focus on the present. It can't truly focus on the next race, the next lap. It has tunnel vision. It's like those horse blinders, and we just focus on that and we can't get out of it. We stay stuck in it. And rumination, that's the perfect picture, is those horse blinders on. And imagine being an F1 driver, first of all, okay? And then you make a mistake in the qualifying that happens on the Friday or even the Saturday before the race day on Sunday. So instead of resetting mentally, the mind keeps saying, why did I do this? I should have done this differently. What if I ruin the race for me? What if I ruin the race for my team? What if this is what gets me I lose my seat? What if I lose all these things, right? We see on these shows just how much pressure is put on a driver these days. And now knowing that, your attention is split and your performance actually suffers from this. And the same thing happens in everyday life, right? So you might be preparing for a presentation. You might suddenly have all these replays of a mistake earlier in the week and trying to understand, am I actually ready for this presentation, just because you made one mistake during the past week. And you could be lying in your bed replaying a conversation over and over and over of a relationship or a friendship. And the brain truly loves to analyze problems, and sometimes it analyzes them far longer than necessary. So the real psychological skill isn't eliminating negative thoughts, because we all have a negative mindset and we all go through more negative thoughts than positive ones, right? But it's learning how to respond to them and learning how to get over them quicker, because I don't want people to think, oh, I can never have a negative thought, rumination, I can never be in rumination mode. No, those will happen, but it's how quickly you bounce back. So if I were working with Lando Norris, here are 3 tools that I would focus on with him to allow him to just have more breathing room and to have more mental clarity in his race, but also in his personal life as well. And honestly, these apply just as much to everyday life for him, but also for other people if you saw yourself in him during this past season. The first one is cognitive reframing. So instead of seeing mistakes as proof of failure, elite performers train their minds to see them as data. So it's not going to be anymore, I messed up or it was my fault, but more of, what can I learn from this lap? This shift sounds small and it might be like, this is so silly and so stupid, but it changes the brain's relationship with mistakes. Okay. And that's what's the most important about this, is that mistakes become information, not identity. And we have to start getting ourselves out of the victim mode to the growth mode. So rewiring the brain to see, okay, it's normal that we make mistakes, but how can we bounce back faster? The second one I would give Lando is a mental reset ritual. So athletes often develop quick mental resets between moments of pressure. This might be a deep breathing exercise. It could also be a phrase that they repeat that they've memorized. It could be always on their phone. It could be on their hand. It could be on their helmet, something that they can see every single time to get their mind out of a thought process. Or it could be a physical action that signals reset. It could be touching your shoulder. It could just be like rubbing your nose. It can just be crossing your arm, something to just get your mind off of that thought again. And so the goal is simple in this situation. I want Lando to interrupt that rumination loop. So instead of straying away and being stuck in the past, the mind is brought back to the present. So if he's being negative, okay, when I clap once or when I touch my nose, that means to focus on the present rather than what just happened. Sometimes that's all you need for your brain to get back on it. Sports, when I used to play rugby and I would get in these negative spirals as well because I wasn't fast enough, I didn't tackle hard enough, I didn't tackle, or I just kind of grabbed on, I wasn't doing my best, I would have an elastic. And every time I had this negative thought, like I'm not good enough, I shouldn't be on this line, I changed my elastic to the other hand, and that just showed my brain. And sometimes it showed me how many negative thoughts I had just within one game. And it helped me focus a lot more after that. Number 3 is training attention. One of the most powerful psychological tools is learning to direct your attention intentionally. So rumination pulls attention towards problems, but focus is a trainable skill. Okay, so we can have physical skills and then we have mental skills. And this is what my YouTube, my Instagram is all about. And that's what elite athletes often practice, is mindfulness or visualization specifically to their strength or ability to stay present, or visualizing the race, visualizing the turns, visualizing, the movement of the steering wheel. So because performance happens in the present moment, I want to make sure that his performance happens consistently in the present moment, not in the replay of the last mistake. So getting over, having a rebound a little bit quicker. And this is why I love talking about sports psychology, and it just shows us how everyone is truly the same, and everyone is going through the same things. Even people performing at the highest level in the world are still dealing with the same mental patterns as we all have and did, because we all have that same old brain that's been out of date for a long time. And so it's that self-doubt, it's that overthinking, it's that pressure, it's that like comparison, or the imposter syndrome. The difference is that elite performers don't eliminate these thoughts. They often have skills to navigate through them. So that's why you see a lot of people with, yes, physical trainers, but you also see a lot of people with mindset coaches. And that's something all of us can benefit from, is whether we're racing cars or leading teams or studying for exams or managing everyday life. You saw my bunny, my roaming free bunny in my house, just doing sprints. Like, I'm trying to manage everything, and then I have a beautiful bunny to take care of. We all go through different things depending on our life circumstances. So the next time you find yourself replaying a mistake or stuck in a negative spiral, I just want you to remember, so save this video or send it to a friend that might be always, kind of the glass isn't half full kind of person. Remember that your brain is doing something very human. Don't hate your brain. Don't talk bad about your brain. Just know this is totally normal. And with the right tools, you can learn to step out of that loop and move forward, because the mind, just like the body, can be trained. And we've learned that more and more from science, especially through positive psychology, that you are never too old to retrain your brain. We are constantly rewiring the neurons in our brains from the thoughts that we think, from the habits that we do or don't do. And so the next time you catch yourself, or if Lando Norris watches this and catches himself in these rumination loops, do something to get your mind off of that thought process. It can be a song, it can be a movement, like I said, about touching the nose, or a clap or something. It can be more mindful practices, meditations, but oftentimes it is just talking it out. I love journaling. Journaling is something that I don't like to share a lot. I don't like to talk a lot. But what I do like to express myself is in my journals and getting those emotions out. And once you hear your emotion, or actually you read your emotions, you start to understand, like, okay, this is actually totally normal. And so now you know a little about me, about how much I geek out on sports psychology. And those are probably the shows that I watch the most on Netflix when I have time to watch TV. So I would love to know which ones you have watched. If you're a Lando Norris fan, if you're a Mercedes or McLaren or Red Bull or Williams, or the new Audi team is coming out in the new, well, it's not the new season right now, but it's out, in this current season that we're watching in real time. So I would love to know if you're an F1 fan, if you're not an F1 fan, and if there's any other sports psychology movies or episodes of shows that I should watch, because I would be very grateful for that. So thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. And if you're already subscribed, I'm always truly grateful for your presence and for allowing me to do these videos and having the amazing community behind me. So bye, everyone.